I'm doing some in-show moments behind.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video, y'all. Bear with me. Um, so I just wanted to check in because I know I did a live yesterday, and I was very in my bag a little bit, in my feelings. You know what I mean? And I'm a very wise cookie, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna allow um what I feel to really, I have enough discipline to not allow my feelings to dictate my reality, if that makes sense. Meaning that I know enough about myself, about my life, about how I'm supposed to move versus how I've been moving, right? Or moved in the past. I know enough to know say higher road. Um, Especially when um when things just appear to not be fair, right? When things appear to not go the way that we want it to go. And I want to be honest. I think that this generation has really learned to weaponize jumping into a relationship, right? Not fixing the past relationship that they were in. And I've never really been one to really put up with those kinds of games, okay? I do see them for what they are. And like I said, I do wish anybody well, right? When you're getting into a relationship, right? I would hope that it would go well. That is the goal, right? That is why we get into relationships. However, I do feel like there are a group of people who, instead of working on themselves and bettering themselves and taking the time to heal, they jump into these relationships with the hope and the intent that they are able to utilize the relationship, quote unquote, as punishment. And naturally, if you were close with someone, right, or you thought you were close, because really that's a whole nother conversation in itself. Um, you do, I know that I'm human, right? So when I see the individuals, right, that I may have at one point seen my life with, and now they're off to literally live a quote unquote life. Not to say that it was for me, because understand that an image is one thing, right? Everyday reality and what's actually happening is another conversation. Okay. So I'm well aware that there are. Like, nobody cares about that piece of yo, I don't get drivers sometimes, okay? I don't get it. Um, and I say that all the time. But realistically, right, it was inevitable. I knew that I was gonna feel a type of way, right? I knew this. And I do believe that me, getting back into that space had everything to do with how I feel. I understand, what is it, Mercury retrograde or whatever, but it was me just not okay with a certain level of peace that I feel as though, hang on, y'all, I should be okay with, if that makes sense. Um, and that's something that I have to work on, you guys. But I'm never going to go back to a relationship simply because the person is, willing to marry. Like, for me, marriage is not the end all be all. And I remember being with this individual and the conversation being like, oh, I could see you as being the mother of my child, right? And in my head, I never understood the idea of having a child before marriage, at least in this relationship, right? I genuinely feel like if I'm to get with another person, right, and I'm going to be in these relationships, right, I believe that I should be striving to do things the right way in my mind, or what I believe is the right way, which is actually being married first and then making that decision together to have kids. Um, that is just, from experience. That's why I don't have another child. Like, that is the route and direction that I know for myself, just considering everything that I have gone through. That is a requirement, for me to even bear somebody else's child, right? And so, or even consider it, okay? So it was always, like I said, I know deep down that I was not ready. I was definitely not in the space in that moment, right? Even now, I think I want a relationship sometimes. I'm very afraid to be in a relationship. I'll say that. Um, I don't know that I just am fearful of it, right? I really, really am, because I don't want to waste my time. And I don't want to be put in scenarios where I'm gonna have to F somebody up because they don't know how to act. Like, I'm really over that shit, right? And so for me, it's like, okay, if I'm a date, it's got to be really worth my time. Okay. Um, I, what's the word? I don't want to be married for the sake of being married. I want to be married because I know in my heart of hearts that I can, spend the rest of my life with that person, right? I do not believe in divorce. That's just me personally. And so for me, if I'm going to say I do, it's gotta make fucking sense. Like, it's gotta work for me, right? The person has to be compatible for me. And I genuinely feel like this is really what I feel like, right? Is that if the person is meant for me, because I know that I'm focused and I I would have to at some point be open to the idea, fully open. But I feel like God removed individuals from my life because they were not good for me, right? And I really feel like this. If a person can take the life that they've thought that they could build with you, because in my opinion, kids and marriage are serious things. I don't know about other people, right? But it's almost like I don't tell people I love you if I really don't love you, right? Meaning that if a man can say, well, I could see you as my wife, I could see you as having my kids, and then he's able to go off and build that life with somebody else completely, or attempt to build that life with someone else. It was never a life for me to have. Do you understand me? Because the person that I feel like I would be dedicating my life to can't really see themselves without me, and vice versa, right? So I do recognize all of that, right? And I know all of that to be true, right? It doesn't hurt any less. I think what happens though, see, because for a man, if I was to tell my friend this, right? He would tell me, and I know him, right? You gotta care less. You gotta stop caring with your heart so much. And the reality is, I'm a woman, so I still go through the emotions of a woman. However, even going through those emotions, right? I'm still able to say, well, yeah, but he did you wrong there, and he did you wrong there, and he did you wrong there, and he did you wrong there. And yeah, he apologized, but the moment he didn't get what he wanted, this is what he did here, and this is what he did there, and this is how this went, this is how many times, just all the tears that I had cried during that circumstance. Having to remember all of that in my mind still does not understand why. And so, realistically, right, because anytime I'm in this position where I'm not understanding why, right, God always shows me why. It may not be right then and there when I want to be shown why, right? But he always, and it never fails, he shows me why. So I have enough faith to know that I'm moving in the right direction. And maybe my happy ending doesn't happen this year. Maybe it happens next year. Maybe it happens the year after. Maybe it never happens, right? That's a possibility. And if that's the case, and that was actually beneficial for me, right? So I acknowledge all of these, right? And when I'm in my pain, the pain comes from having to walk away from someone I cared a lot about. And sometimes I really don't even understand why I cared so much. I want to go because y'all ain't going. I'm like, heck yeah, let me go. I'm not staying in that lane. Sorry. I had to figure out if I was going to break the law for temporary seconds or if I was going to go. Wait. But anywho, I want to be in a position where I'm with someone who is healthy for me. Someone who is going to, ooh, I'm not going. Nope, not going. And don't you do that. I want to be with someone who's going to um really be good for me and my mental health, and someone who shares similar values with me. I don't want to have to go a first year with crying and all that jazz. Like, I should be the most happiest person on the planet if you're saying that you want to be with me, you want to be committed to me, right? So I know that what I was feeling versus what makes sense are two different things in this situation, right? And that's where women get stuck, is we feel these emotions, and instead of allowing ourselves to feel them, because that's the key, is feeling them, right? Um Instead of us allowing ourselves to feel them, but also recognize, hang on, y'all. Okay. But also recognizing that just because you feel something doesn't necessarily mean you need to be acting on it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should put yourself in a situation to confirm those feelings, whatever. Just know they exist and learn how to sit in it, feel it, and move on, right? So that's where I'm at, you guys. I am, hang on. I'm not mad at the circumstance, right? Did does it kind of make you feel like, how come this wasn't me? How come this didn't happen to me? Of course. But at the same time, I recognize that I'm not in the place to be having babies. If I was to have a baby this year, right? What are you doing? Why get in your Oh my God, can you drive your now you're going 25 miles per hour. Oh my God. What an idiot. Fucking Mexicans, bro. Sorry. That shit was crazy. Just take my time. But I can't fucking like I swear to God, every Mexican should be forced to take a driver's class every 90 fucking days until they get it right. Okay? I'm dead ass. But anywho, I feel like as women, we have to acknowledge that we have emotions, right? And we're going to feel things. That does not make those feelings true, right? The man wants to be with someone, cool, let him be with someone. But know that that does not take away from who you are. I really believe my situation is more so about the positions that we ended up in. Sorry, y'all. I really believe it's about the positions that we ended up in, right? The positions that you got to understand when you meet someone, you're usually at that person's level, right? It wouldn't matter if you're a man or a woman. And what happened in my situation is I skyrocketed in my elevation. Does that make sense? And he did his elevation too, but I almost feel like his entire purpose was he wanted a relationship. And mine was want to make my money because we had already ended the relationship. The relationship had been ended for years. So I don't know that we were in the same space in our lives for the relationship to be compatible today. I don't even think it was ever really compatible, you know? Just think I tolerated shit and he, So I know I'm more. Hang on, y'all. I can't see this car. I am definitely wiser than what I look, okay? And what I feel. I don't want to say look, but what I feel. And so I'm not naive, you know what I mean? But it just hurts. And sometimes you gotta allow yourself to feel those emotions. I feel better today, even with knowing, everything. Because I realize it doesn't take anything away from me. It just means that person was not my person. It's that simple, you know? Hopefully it's that simple, but that's what I be thinking. So that's where I'm at, y'all. Just wanted to check in. It's been an interesting day, let's put it that way. But I'm happy nevertheless. I'm grateful for everything that I have. And yeah, y'all, I'm just living my life. So with that being said, y'all, I want to wish you guys a wonderful evening. Today is Wednesday. I hope you guys have an amazing evening. And tomorrow morning, you guys, I gotta talk about some things. I think I'm gonna do a political live. I don't know when. But I got some things I want to say, okay? And I'm not understanding the way that I listen. I'm telling y'all now, prophecy is prophecy. And I know everybody's savior is Trump. Please prove me wrong. You know, the last time Trump was in office, I won. And I'm still not doing too bad, right? Trump's election really set me up. It did. So we'll see what happens. But if I keep hearing Biden talk, he's gonna piss me off. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Okay, that guy is gonna pee me off something fierce. I don't understand that man. I don't get his logic or his rhetoric. I don't fucking get it. So I got a bone to pick with this guy. And we gonna talk about it at some point when I can find time to talk about it. Other than that, you guys, I wish you guys a great day, night, peace.